Tonight, Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana's nationwide strike set to disrupt key government services from Monday as the aggrieved workers cite government's failure to honor agreed conditions of service.
Decided to declare an industrial action to back the demand for better conditions of service for its members. NEC decided further that should the government fail to honor its side of the bargain, the constituents of CLOGSAG will embark on a nationwide strike.
We have details from Parliament where the minority fires government over CLOGSAG strike as majority urges patience, insisting government will address the concerns of the union.
That I find is very unfortunate because you see these are conditions that they are entitled to.
And so we played with my friends in this CLOGSAG to reconsider their decision.
We need time to capture all those things. So I will call for restraint.
We have details from Parliament, plus speak to CLOGSAG live here on Top Story. Top Story, as always, is brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. My name is Fostina Sarfo. Please stay for details. Tonight, government services could face major disruptions as the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana prepares to embark on a nationwide strike from Monday over what it describes as unpaid dues and unfulfilled agreements with the government. The union says its patience has run out and members are ready to lay down their tools, a move they have already said will spark heated exchanges. Now, we'll take you to Parliament shortly. The minority is accusing government of dragging its feet on implementing agreed conditions of service, while MPs from the NPP say the concerns raised by CLOGSAG must be addressed urgently. Members of the NDC are appealing to the union to exercise restraint and give government more time to resolve their concerns. With tensions rising, many are watching closely to see whether a last-minute resolution can avert the looming strike. We'll hear from them shortly, but first let's listen to the Executive Director of CLOGSAG, Isaac Bampuano, explaining why CLOGSAG is embarking on this industrial action.
Over their own promises to implement the unique salary structure and other conditions of service referred to from. Over their own promises to implement the unique salary structure and other conditions of service referred to from 1st January 2023. In the light of the above, NEC decided to declare an industrial action to back the demand for better conditions of service for its members. NEC decided further that should the government fail to honor its side of the bargain, the constituents of CLOGSAG will embark on a nationwide strike referred from 9th March 2026. Thank you. Of unique salary structure and other conditions of service for the staff of the civil service and the local government service. On Thursday, 19th February 2026, the National Executive Council, NEC, of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, Ghana, CLOGSAG, met to consider the state of the negotiation on unique salary structure and other conditions of service for the staff of the civil service and the local government service. Taking the NEC through the journey of unique salary structure and other conditions of service for the staff of the civil service and the local government service. On Thursday, 19th February 2026, the National Executive Council, NEC, of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, Ghana, CLOGSAG, met to consider the state of the negotiation on unique salary structure and other conditions of service for the staff of the civil service and the local government service. Taking the NEC through the journey of the unique salary structure and other conditions of service for the staff of the civil service and the local government service, which started as far back as 2019, culminating in the signing of two separate MOUs, the NEC observed that the staff of the services are being taken for granted as reminders to the Ministry of Labour, Jobs and Employment and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission have not been responded to.
Well, that was about 13 days ago. You heard Isaac Bambo Addo speaking. Now, only today, the group says that they've not heard anything from government. The reason why they've been forced to take this decision. My colleague Michael Ashali joins me in the studio with details of a statement that they put out earlier today. Michael, what did it say?
So, firstly, on 19th of February, it was a threat that they were going to go on a strike. Well, just today, Isaac Bambo Addo, who signed this statement just hours ago and circulated, it says that, and this is the first line, stay at home until further notice. And this is directed to the head of the civil service, the head of the local government service, and all regional secretaries of CLOGSAG, telling them that, well, a notice to all members of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association Ghana, that as you are aware, the National Executive Council of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, CLOGSAG, on Thursday, 19th, 2026, gave notice of the intention of its members to proceed on an industrial action. These issues remain unresolved, and as a result, all staff of the civil service and local government service are enjoined to stay at home with effect from Monday, 9th March 2026 until further notice, and ends with Choboy, and that's how he ends the statement first. So that's exactly how much we know from CLOGSAG. We know that usually the procedure is to go through the process of trying to resolve it. You drag the government to the National Labour Commission, you get an agreement. If it favors you, you wait for government to implement. If the government doesn't implement, you go back to NLC to now make another complaint. They tell us that this conversation, if you look at the 19th of February conversation, what they tell us is that they, at that time, had dragged government to NLC, and they had agreed that starting from the 1st of January 2025, these new conditions of service are going to take effect. But since that time until now, that gives us around 14 to 15 months. That does not happen. And that is exactly why this time around they are angry and they want to lay down their tools first.
Thank you so much, Michael Ashali. Well, let's head now to Parliament, where there's a raging debate about CLOGSAG's decision. Speaking to Joy News in Parliament, members of Parliament were sharply divided along partisan lines, while the NPP MPs threw their weight behind the strike and demanded the immediate implementation of the agreement. The NDC counterparts urged the union to exercise patience with government, assuring that their concerns will ultimately be addressed.
I believe they are very much concerned about the government inconsistency in dealing with arrears payments or issues regarding conditions of service across board. Because when you get government picking and choosing which government institution it wants to pay them because of fear that their strike or demonstration will go against the government, then they would look at the civil service demand and say that, come on, yours is not as critical as we see in other sectors, so we can delay. That I find is very unfortunate, because you see these are conditions that they are entitled to. And irrespective of the state of the economy that we say or the government portrays that things are better, the economy looks good, when you go out there to the market, cost of transportation is not easy.
It's unfortunate, first of all, the declaration of strike by CLOGSAG is unfortunate, first of all. And I think that the authorities are going to be looking at it closely, and then we'll see what is due them, and they will be giving. I mean, it is not in anybody's interest whatsoever at all that government institution workers declare, strike. I mean, it's not in anybody's interest. His Excellency Mahama, that's not what he's wishing for. Again, let us not forget that we took this economy from a very difficult position, and we're trying to reset this economy and to ensure that every Ghanaian gets what he or she is due. And so we played with my friends in this CLOGSAG to reconsider their decision. His Excellency Mahama would take care of every situation, and I think that will be fine. We'll be fine. I think the authorities will take care of it very soon, and then they will return to work. There should be no problem.
I will call on our colleagues to exercise restraint. This situation was inherited by this government, and the government is working around the clock to find resolution. Even though prices of goods per se have not come down dramatically, we all agree living conditions are better because inflation is just 3.3, so the rate at which prices are going up is dramatically lower. Fuel prices low, dollar, so Even though they're not getting the conditions they're looking for, they are better off under this government. And let me be clear here. This government is not going to renege on the earlier agreement with the previous government, except that we need time to capture all those things. So I will call for restraint. I will call for them to exercise some level of patience, and definitely they're going to be better under this government than the previous one.
Well, you had the NPP MP for Efia Isaac Boamayako, NDC MP for Trifo Atimokwa David Vondi, and NDC MP for Brecum West Dixon Gia. Well, we will be delving into what exactly we're learning. We're told that there may be a backdoor negotiation even before Monday. We'll confirm that for you. But Michael Ashali is still with me in the studio. Michael, I'm wondering what services would be affected on Monday?
Well, CLOGSAG is one of the biggest unions within the government agency, because you would expect that a lot of civil servants also work within this space. Quite a number of offices will be affected, and a number of services as well will also be affected. Well, you would have that if you go to the birth and death registry, which is one of the main places that a lot of people go to almost every day. If you're thinking about registration of your weddings, your death certificate, the birth certificate, there's a higher chance that this is where you have to go. And if you go to that place, chunks of people almost every day trooping in and out, and that is one of the services that most likely will also not come in if this strike goes ahead as they have planned. That on Monday, if you go there for a death certificate or even for your marriage, you may not be able to get any of their offices working. Also, if you go to the Control and Accountant General's Department, also one of the places that a lot of people are trooping in with a lot of interest. If you have issues with your salary, there's a chance that once this happens, that will not get resolved as well. If you also go to the ministries and government agencies, a lot of ministries and government agencies, if you go there, you are more likely not to be able to get access to some of these services that they also render. Also, if you go to the metropolitan assemblies, the municipal assemblies and district assemblies as well, a lot of members of CLOGSAG also work at them. Often than not, when strikes like this happen, if you go to any of these assemblies, you're more likely to be told that there's nobody who is willing to serve you, because you have to go through somebody before you eventually get to the person in charge of that service. And usually these are the people that CLOGSAG usually comes into contact with. So you have to get in contact with CLOGSAG before you actually get to see either CEO or director or deputy director of any of these agencies. So it will be a difficult one come Monday if the strike goes as intended. We'll be waiting. We've heard quite a lot of rumor about what is trying to happen at the moment, but we are uncertain for exact or sure what is happening right now. But all we have is what the statement that I've been given, that on 19th there was a threat. 19th of February there was a threat from CLOGSAG that they have this agreement with government that should have been implemented 1st January 2025, but that did not happen.
And then it's shocking that we are having this conversation now, because Isaac said that, in fact, in that news conference, that they were giving government some days before they actually declare their next action. It's been 13 days after that. They say government continues to fail to implement that condition of service that they've agreed upon, and also to improve their conditions of service. And so this concern from CLOGSAG has been brewing for a while now.
Yes, it's one of those things. So if you look at the negotiation process, sometimes it could take you between 8 months to 2 years to get some of these negotiations finalized. That's why more often than not you see them starting this conversation, say, a year before the expiration of the current conditions of service, so that it gives all parties enough time to plan and to adjust and to find space. Budget. A lot of this is actually about money. So more often than not, to get government to say that, okay, I can afford these new conditions of service, or which one must go and which one is now more important to us. You remember that, for instance, when we got to after COVID-19 and things got tough, there was this conversation about COLA. And COLA is one of those things that was for the conditions of service for members of those who were working for government. So it was one of those conversations. It took some time. It's one of those ones that got through in record time. But every association usually starts some of these conversations at 1 year. So it's been something that's been on the back burner for a long time. For you to get them to say that it should have started in 2025, that puts us to 14 to 15 months now, and that's quite a long time to wait for your conditions of service to improve. And an improvement in your conditions of service means more money for you, more areas that our government considers that they may be looking at, they may give you some allowances for. In the absence of this, that only means that those things are not coming. You're still taking old money that reflects older living condition standards. But we've also had the conversations from government as well, that since they came, right now we are looking at inflation around 3.3%. It means that in the last 1 year, the conditions of living has improved, at least largely.
Technically.
So it has largely improved, and that the rate of increment to be expected on the market has also changed over that period of time. So this is something I'm sure the government's argument. We've had the members of parliament who are asking CLOGSAG to actually give government some more time whilst they're also trying to see whether they have the money.
The NDC MP appears to be backing government. The NPP MPs, they are of the opinion that CLOGSAG is right. But this issue came up as far back as 2019, Papani. And I remember that there were two separate MOUs they signed even before this administration took office. We heard from Isaac Bampoado alleged that the previous administration had actually approved the conditions of service for workers in the finance ministry. Claims we cannot substantiate for now, but then they are concerned that what is taking government so long to adhere to their concerns?
Well, firstly, one thing we know for sure is that prior to 2025, and that's in December, when there was this conversation between government, the new government and the old government, the conversation, at least from Felix Kwachofoso at the time, was caution to the old government that don't agree to things because we've seen the books. It may be difficult to absorb some of these things. It's why when they came, one of the things they did was to cancel some of the appointments or some of the recruitments that the former government has done. Cash has been tight. One thing we know, and this government has been trying very much to squeeze from here and to take from here and to use to solve one thing. So it possibly may be one of the reasons why government has not been able to meet their financial obligation or to implement this, which we know largely has to do with money. So it's one of the reasons you'd have this conditions of service not implemented as of now. But it also is one of the mandates of these groups to also push for it to be implemented. That only means that they are losing money. 10% of a certain amount of money in January 2025 is not the same in January 2026 because now the interest rate on money is gone down. It's almost also maybe going to hit a single digit maybe before the end of the year. So time value of money is also very important to these people. And I'm sure even when they get approval, the conversation will be when can these money be paid? And that's what I'm sure government cannot keep itself to and why they don't want to implement it.
And for most people, they're wondering why embark on an industrial action when you're still on the negotiation table with government. Some experts will argue that you're breaching labor laws, but then others say this is the only way you appear to get government to listen to you in our part of the world.
Well, sadly, that has become the norm. That for every group that wants to be taken serious, you actually eventually have to end up at the point where you are laying down your tools. You don't go and render the service that everybody expects you, and then you disrupt government business. Well, that is the expectation. But we also know that from the conversation, from the rules of engagement, is that you cannot be on strike and be expecting to be negotiating. But let's not forget that this strike takes effect from Monday. So even if there's going to be a negotiation, it has to happen now.
But tomorrow is a holiday. We're all going to be celebrating Independence
Tomorrow is a holiday.
Day.
It's already past 5 when we know that
Exactly.
officially government business closes around 5. But let's see what really can happen between now and Monday. But as it stands now, the rules of engagement is that you cannot be on strike and be expecting any other group to engage you. So even if NLC comes into this, the first demand they'll make on CLOGSAG is to call off the strike, and then before they come back to the negotiating table. If that is not done, more often than not, they have refused to meet the striking group under any circumstance at all until this strike actually is called off. That's one of the things that you usually have to do in a situation like this before you come to the negotiation table. But we don't know if negotiations have started. We don't know whether government is trying to calm the nerves of these members of this CLOGSAG association before they actually go on strike on Monday. We can only wait. We can only wait and see what exactly will happen by Monday and see whether they'll make good of their promise or their threat to go on a strike.
Indeed. Thank you, Michael Ashale. He's actually covering this for us on the labor front. But I have joining the conversation Austin Game. He's a labor expert. Austin, I appreciate your time here on Top Story. We're just hearing from CLOGSAG tell us that indeed they will be withdrawing their services on Monday. I'd like to start with your thoughts on the legality of this proposal.
Well, to be honest with you, we have a labor law in this country, which is an applicable law, not to wait for anybody to give any interpretation to it. So, as an applied law, there are processes you must go through. And every engagement, I understood the engaged government of PAS in 2019 and agreed on a certain way forward, which they expect the present government, obviously government is continuum, to enable them see what can be done about their request. That itself is a gigantic kind of thing that they cannot take a strike action for a 1-year-old government for something that has lasted 4 years. It's not fair. That is the only thing. Otherwise, they have every legitimate reason to call on the employer to listen to their concern and to be seen to be addressing them. They have every legitimate concern.
You say it's not fair, really, but they've been waiting on government for 4 good years, just like you mentioned. Previous administration made promises, they failed. This administration also made promises, and they are hoping that government would at least adhere to their promise.
Yes, you heard I have heard it too. I'm sure they have heard it too. You also heard that the president said he was going to set up an independent emolument commission that will address holistically these issues. They cannot, at the back of that, address something. That's why there's a need for the employer, which is government, to quickly meet them and to be seen to be giving them assurances with timelines as to when they will be doing some of these things. Because it cannot be into infinitum. That's why I said I agree with them up to a point that they have a legitimate concern to be addressed. And government is continuum, I agree, but 4 years and 1 year is like night and day. You cannot embark upon strike action on an issue that is being given attention to. We all know that.
Then, looking at the concerns being raised by CLOGSAG, from where you sit, is it something that can even be addressed in the interim? They threaten that on Monday they'll be withdrawing their services. We know that key institutions will be turning away individuals as a result of this industrial action.
Well, it's up to the employer. I'm not in their shoes. If I were to be in charge, I know exactly what to do. And I expect the National Labour Commission to take immediate action. I expect the head of the Office of Civil Service. I expect the head of the local government, not the president acting on this. I expect them, who are the legitimate heads, to take immediate action by walking straight to the Labour Commission and let all of them be summoned right now to have a meeting till midnight, and they will have the matter resolved and inform the whole nation, because we are looking for employment for our sisters and brothers and children and grandchildren. Every investment portfolio is moving towards another direction. Who will come and invest in a country that is chaotic when you are deliberately denying yourself opportunity of investment to enable you to have your people employed?
Okay.
And CLOGSAG should think through about it, because their action will spark that trouble.
Austin, stay with me. Let me bring in the PRO of CLOGSAG. We understand that they were in a crunch meeting. Edmond Akwe joins us live with updates. Edmond, what was the outcome of your meeting?
May I know who is at the other end of the line, please?
Fostina speaking here.
I am the one, Mr. Akwe.
Oh, you want to know who I was speaking to before?
Yes.
Okay.
I've introduced myself to him already.
Yes, please.
I didn't hear, please.
I am your brother, Austin Game.
Oh, senior. Very well. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the update on
good evening
meeting?
and good evening to your listeners. And wherever they find themselves. Well, the outcome of the meeting is that we should be on strike on the 9th of March. That was the outcome of the National Executive Council meeting that was held earlier on today.
But we know
So
that...
as it stands, the staff of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association are going to be on strike come 9th March indefinitely.
But we've just been hearing from Austin Game. He says that you should go back to the negotiation table because you may be breaching labor laws if you proceed on this industrial action.
Well, for us, we had already given an intention of strike almost 2 weeks ago, somewhere around 19th February. We put out there that there's a looming action that needs to be taken by government. And for that matter, the Civil and Local Government Staff Association are talking about their conditions of service that has been lingering on for the past 5 to 6 years. Since 2019 down the lane, we've been negotiating on our salary, conditions of service and salary structure, and we have signed a number of agreements, number of MOU. We have now come to the implementation stage. This implementation should have taken place somewhere 1st January 2025, but law-abiding citizens, when the new government came in, they asked us to give them some time. We've waited for over a year now, and no positive action has been taken on the implementation of our conditions of service and issues that have to do with our salary structure. And for that matter, today, the National Executive Council of CLOGSAG, having given ultimatum or otherwise intention of strike since 19th February, have been not hearing anything positive from our employer. Today had a crunch meeting, and at the end of it, it was decided that staff within the civil service and the local government service should lay down their tools come 9th of March 2026. Our matter is so simple.
Okay. With your negotiations with government, what exactly did they tell you?
Well, we had a meeting just about 3 days ago. They said they were going to get back to us. And today being Thursday, we've not heard from them. Tomorrow is a holiday. It's not a working day. We have to tell our constituents the right thing. That's so far so good, or otherwise so far so bad.
Can I intervene before I go to my class to teach? Mr. Kwe,
No, Mr. Game, please hold on. Let him make his point. I'll allow you to intervene.
We've not heard anything positive from our employer concerning the agreement that we have come to, that staff within the civil service and local government service should have their conditions of service, which has been signed and sealed. And now we are looking at implementation.
Okay. Mr. Edmund, but then Mahama has set up a national emolument committee, and this is to address the salary disparities. Won't you wait upon the committee to finish their work, at least?
The civil and local government staff have been waiting for far too long on this matter. This issue you are telling me about the president establishing the emolument committee doesn't come in here. We are talking about current employment and current issues that we are facing. And we are currently working as well. We expect that what will be given to us in the fairness of employer-employee relationship.
So we should expect that industrial action would commence on Monday, unabated?
Exactly. Our people on the ground are not happy with the action of government or otherwise our employer. And for that matter, every member that belongs to the Civil and Local Government Staff Association is ready on 9th of March to lay down their pen and paper and their tools that they work with. Until a positive action is given to us. Mind you, our issue was discussed at the transition, the team level.
Yes,
when there was no transition, those issues of conditions of service came in there. During the vetting of the Honorable Minister for Employment, Honorable Rashid Pelpo, a question was posed to him by Honorable Patrick Boama the conditions of service of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, for which he put out there that he was going to ensure that we get what belongs to us.
Okay.
1 year down the line, we've not seen it. Rather, unfortunately, some members within the Ministry of Finance are benefiting from these conditions of services that we have put out there.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Which results into what we refer to as salary dispute.
Unfortunately, we have to let you go at this point in time. We appreciate your time. So you heard there from CLOGSAG tell us that they'll continue with their industrial action. Briefly, let me wrap up 30 seconds with Austin Game. He's not with us. Okay, we appreciate your time here on Top Story. Up next is Newsnight. Kenneth Jesse, over to you.